Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Japanese ebook before it's gone. Hi, welcome to Introduction to Japanese. My name is Alicia, and I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, I'm Risa.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Japanese writing. In English, we use one script, the English alphabet, to write. To write in Japanese, however, you will need to use 3 different scripts together.
And they are hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Hiragana is like the basic Japanese alphabet.
Instead of 26 letters, however, we have 46 characters. Each character represents one syllable. These 5 characters, for example, represent the 5 vowels in Japanese.
A, I, U, E, O.
All other characters, except for one, are made up of a consonant and one of these vowels.
Ka, ki, ku, ke, ko, sa, shi, su, se, so.
And so on.
Katakana is almost exactly the same as hiragana. The only difference is that it's written a little differently. A, I, U, E, O, ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. Hiragana is more cursive, while katakana has a lots of sharp corners. The final script is kanji.
Kanji is the use of Chinese characters in Japanese writing. This is because Japanese writing actually originated from China.
Right. A long time ago, Japan only used Chinese characters. Today, we use all 3 scripts together to write Japanese. Unlike hiragana and katakana though, kanji is nothing like an alphabet.
Kanji characters are a special type of character that represent an idea or concept. They act more like entire words than individual letters. And unlike the alphabet, there are thousands and thousands of kanji characters.
Not to mention, there are many different ways you can read them too. So the pronunciation actually changes according to the context.
Okay, now you know that there are 3 different scripts used to write Japanese, but why is this the case? Let's look at each script in a little more detail.
You can think of hiragana as the default script used to write most things in Japanese.
It's the most common of the 3 scripts because it's used to write functional words, including most grammatical particles, such as possessive,
の、私のペン
prepositions,
に、学校にいる
as a subject marker,
は、ジョンは学生です。
and it can also be used to write words that lack a kanji rendition or whose kanji is obscure or considered too difficult for the reader to understand. Additionally, it's used as inflectional endings for adjectives and verbs together with kanji.
見る、押す、白い、古い。
In theory, you could use this script to write everything in Japanese.
For this reason, it's generally best to learn hiragana first. We mentioned before that katakana is almost exactly the same as hiragana. The only difference is that it looks slightly different.
This is the least common of the 3 scripts because it's used to write foreign words and names,
コンピューター、ビール、ロンドン、ジョン、
and onomatopoeic sounds.
ワンワン、ニャン。It's common to learn katakana after you learn hiragana because of their similarities.
The final script is kanji, which is undoubtedly the hardest one of all to learn. Kanji is used to write most words of native Japanese or of historically Chinese origin. This includes most nouns,
人、学校、
the stems of most verbs and adjectives,
見る、行く、赤い、怖い、
and most personal and place names.
田中、ひろこ、東京、大阪。
Learning kanji may be difficult since there are thousands and thousands of them. They are, however, an integral part of Japanese writing. Okay, let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what we've learned.
In this lesson, you learned that there are 3 different scripts used to write Japanese. Hiragana is the most common. and it's used to write functional words and particles. Katakana is used to write foreign words and names. And kanji is used to write native Japanese words, or words of Chinese origin.
We've covered the very basics of Japanese writing.
Check out our Kantankana series to learn the hiragana and katakana scripts that we talked about in this lesson.
And check out our Introduction to Kanji series, where we teach you the quickest and most effective way to tackle learning kanji. In the next lesson, you'll be entering Japanese Boot Camp, where you'll learn useful beginner phrases to get you speaking Japanese right away. See you in the next lesson. Bye!
Bye! Hi everyone, I'm Risa. Welcome to Basic Japanese Writing. In this series, I'm going to teach you how to master the Japanese alphabet in the fastest, easiest, and most fun way. Did you know written Japanese actually uses 3 different scripts: hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Hiragana is the basic Japanese alphabet. Contrary to the English alphabet, however, each character represents one syllable sound. So every time you see one specific character, you know that it will always sound the same way. The second script used in Japanese is katakana. Each katakana character represents the same syllable as its hiragana counterpart. However, it is written a bit differently and is used mostly for foreign words. These two make up the Japanese alphabet, and they will be the focus of this series. On the other hand, kanji characters represent a word or a concept, and unlike hiragana and katakana, there are thousands of them. Plus, there are also different readings for each of them. This makes kanji characters harder to master. However, it's important to learn them as well because they are essential in understanding Japanese. To learn more about kanji, check out our kanji series at JapanesePod101.com, which I also host with Alicia. In this first lesson, we'll be diving into hiragana, and you'll be learning your first 5 characters. Hiragana characters are the most common of the 3 scripts because it's used to write functional words like grammatical particles and are also commonly found at the end of adjectives and verbs. There are also lots of words that are more commonly written in hiragana rather than kanji. Technically, hiragana characters could also be used to substitute kanji characters that you don't know how to write. But don't use this as an excuse not to learn kanji. There are 46 hiragana characters and they are commonly arranged in this order. Take note that when Japanese is written vertically, you read it from right to left. So we'll be starting with this column. These 5 characters are the 5 vowel sounds in Japanese. The rest of the characters are made up of a consonant sound and one of these vowel sounds, except for the n character. Okay, are you ready to learn your first hiragana? Here we go! This is the hiragana character, a. To remember this character, try comparing it with an apple. Do you see it? Hiragana, a is written in 3 strokes. The first stroke is a horizontal stroke from left to right. Even though horizontal lines look totally flat in font, try writing them at a bit of an angle to make your writing look good. The second stroke is a vertical stroke that cuts the first stroke in half. It starts at the top and curves outwards and down to the bottom. The third stroke is like a spiral. It starts from the center and curves down to the left. Then it curves back up and to the right, crossing the starting point before finally going back down. Flick your pen at the end of this last stroke. To have a good balance, make sure that there isn't too much space in between the first and the third stroke. Take note of the spaces made by the third stroke as well. This space should be the smallest, then this loop is a bit larger. And finally, the space inside the flip is the largest. Okay, let's see it again. Next up is the hiragana character, I. I. Think of this character as two eyes, side by side. I. You can actually see I a lot in writing, as it acts like a suffix to most adjectives in Japanese. Hiragana I is written in two strokes. The first stroke starts from this part. It's like a carved diagonal line. At the bottom, it turns sharply upwards. Flick your pen while you finish this stroke. This kind of flicked release with a sharp turn is called a hane. When you do a hane, don't put away your pen immediately. It should be as if you're connecting this stroke to the next one. The second stroke starts from here. It's actually about where you stop to turn if you haven't released your pen from the earlier stroke. Just draw an opposite curving line from the first stroke without the hane part. As you can see, this stroke should be shorter than the first one. It should look like you're enclosing a circle when writing an I. Okay, let's see it again. The third one is the hiragana, U. U. To remember this character, imagine a boxer getting punched in the stomach saying U. Hiragana U is written in two strokes. First, draw this short slanted line at the top center. For the second stroke, draw an ear shape starting from this point, curving up to the right and then down to the bottom center. Flick your pen at the end of this stroke. Make sure the first stroke is not too big so that your character won't be off balance. Okay, let's see it again. This is the hiragana character, E. E. It looks like an energetic ninja. Whoosh! Hiragana E is written in two strokes. It starts just like the hiragana U with a short slanted line on the top center. The second stroke goes like this. Look complicated? Just think of writing a number 7. Then go back, retrace a bit, then make a small wave. Extend the end of the stroke, but don't flick your pen. Try your best to keep the same line during the retracing part. This will make your writing neat. Okay, let's see it again. Now, our final character for this lesson, the hiragana O. O. To remember O, try to think of it as a UFO. Take a look at these two characters. Do you remember this character on the left? That's right, it's the hiragana A. In order to differentiate hiragana O from A, just remember that O has a floating stroke on the side. O is also often used in writing, but unlike I, O is commonly found at the beginning of words. It is used to imply politeness. Hiragana O is written in 3 strokes. It starts in a similar way to hiragana A, with a short horizontal line, but this time is a bit lower and more to the left. The second stroke starts as a vertical line that cuts the first stroke in half. Then it turns sharply to the left, then turns again to make a big curved line. Flick your pen at the end of this stroke. The third stroke is a small slanted line. It should be located a bit to the top right of the first stroke. The left side of your hiragana O should be aligned. Keep the proportions of these spaces as well to keep a good balance. Okay, let's see it again. Let's see all the characters again. A, I, U, E, O. Now, let's review what you've learned. I'll show you a character or a word and give you time to say them. Ready? E. Remember the energetic ninja. I. Believe it or not, it's actually a word. I means stomach. U. Which one is the hiragana? A. It's the one that looks like an apple and doesn't have a floating stroke. This one. I. It means love. Ue. This one means up or above. Iie. Iie means no. Aoi. This means blue. Great job! Do you remember when I said hiragana characters are used to spell out the pronunciation of a kanji? They are placed above or beside a kanji and written smaller. This use of hiragana is called furigana. Okay, let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what you've learned. In this lesson, you've learned the 5 hiragana vowels. A, I, U, E, and O. よくできました. You've now mastered your first 5 characters. Do you know what big is in Japanese? In the next lesson, you'll learn it when you get to know your first batch of consonant vowel syllables. Before you go, practice writing the following words on your own. I, 会う 青 言う 家 上 おい お 青い いいえ See you in the next lesson! またね!
Minasan yokoso! Hi everybody, my name is Chihiro and welcome to JapanesePod101.com's Kantan Kana series, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the 2 basic Japanese alphabets, hiragana and katakana. Over the next 25 lessons, you'll go from 0 to complete mastery. Are you ready? Okay, let's begin. In the first half of this series, you will learn hiragana. Every hiragana character represents a certain sound but doesn't have meaning by itself. Using these hiragana characters, you can write almost any Japanese word. There are 46 hiragana characters, and they are commonly arranged like this. Look complicated? Don't worry, we'll do 1 row at a time, and before you know it, you'll master them all. Okay, let's start writing. The first character you will learn is A. To write it correctly, pay attention to the stroke order. 1, 2, 3. When you're starting out, try to make your characters look as close to mine as possible. Keep your lines slightly curved like this. Good, let's move on. The second character is I. I is more simple than A. But there are 2 things to keep in mind. First, watch me draw it once. 1, 2. When you draw I, imagine there is an oval that you're tracing around like this. This will help you write the lines correctly. Also, don't forget about this part. This is called a hane. This is left from when characters were written with a brush and ink. Try to make this hane with your pen. Believe it or not, now you know how to write a word in Japanese. This is ai, or love. Let's learn another character so we can write more words. Here is u. Make the top stroke angled like this, not flat. This is yu, which means to speak. And here is au, which means to meet. Two more characters for this lesson. 頑張ってください. E is next. The first stroke of e is the same as u, and the rest is all in one stroke. Don't lift up that pen. This is ie, which means house. And this is ue, which means up. Our last character today is o. This first stroke is like a, but this stroke swings around like this and makes a loop. Then make one final stroke here. This is oi. Nephew. And this is owl. Blue. Now let's have a short quiz. I'll show you the hiragana, and you read it out loud. Bonus points if you remember what it means. Ai. Love. Yu. To speak. Ao. Blue. Now it's time for Chihiro's tip. Have you been writing as you watch? I hope so, because there's no better way to master the kana quickly than to write them for yourself. Do you know how to write kako, past? You'll learn that and much more in the next lesson. See you then!
Hi everyone! Welcome to Basic Japanese Writing, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to master the Japanese alphabet. You've learned these 5 hiragana characters from the previous lesson. In this lesson, you learn 5 new characters and 10 new sounds. How is that possible? Stay tuned to find out. The first hiragana character for this lesson is ka. Ka. Need help remembering this one? Just imagine it as a blade cutting a stick. Ka is actually a hiragana character that is used a lot since it is the question marking particle in Japanese. So if you see a sentence ending in ka, it is most probably a question. The hiragana ka also has another reading once we add this mark. This mark is called dakuten or tenten. It is made up of 2 lines that look like a quotation mark symbol, and it's put on the upper right corner of the character. The dakuten makes the consonant of the syllable voiced, so ka with a dakten will be pronounced as ga. Voicing a consonant simply means that you create a vibration in your vocal cords when you say it. Ga, ga. Notice the difference. Ka, ga, ka, ga. Hiragana ka is written in 3 strokes. The first stroke starts as a horizontal line, then bends down into a vertical curved line. Finally, it ends with a hane release. The second stroke is a downward diagonal line with a slight curve inwards. Make sure that this stroke intersects the first stroke around here. The final stroke is a curved slanted stroke to the right of where the first stroke bends. Make the last stroke slightly longer than the other small slanted strokes in previous characters to distinguish it from the dakten. Okay, let's see it again. Okay, next up is the hiragana character ki. Ki. Ki looks like a key. Just like the hiragana ka, all of the characters in this column can be altered by a dakten. Ki with a dakten is pronounced as gi, ki, gi, ki, gi. Hiragana ki is written in 4 strokes. The first 2 strokes are 2 parallel lines, both starting from left to right. They are written at the bit of an angle. The third stroke cuts through the first 2 strokes and ends with a hane release. Because the third stroke ends with a hane, don't put down your pen yet. When you get to this point, make a small curve like half of a smile. Even though you see the fourth stroke connected to the third stroke in most fonts, the correct way to write ki is to lift your pen up before making the final stroke. Okay, let's see it again. The third one is the hiragana ku. Ku. To remember this character, think of it as a cuckoo's beak. Cuckoo. Let's add a dakten to ku as well. How do you think it will sound like? It's pronounced as gu. Ku. Gu. Ku. Gu. Hiragana ku is written in 1 stroke. It is written just like an open angle bracket but with a slight inward bend. To make your handwriting neat, make sure that the start and end points are aligned. Okay, let's see it again. This is the hiragana character ke. Ke. Ke looks like a keg, doesn't it? Just like the first 3 characters, ke can be modified by a dakten. Ke with a dakten is pronounced as ge, ke, ge, ke, ge. Hiragana ke is written in 3 strokes. The first stroke is a vertical stroke with a slight outward curve, and then ends with a hane. After the hane, continue on to the next stroke. It is a short horizontal line. The third stroke is another vertical stroke that curves opposite to the first stroke but starts a bit higher and ends lower. Flick your pen at the end of this stroke. Okay, let's see it again. And our final character for this lesson is the hiragana ko. Ko. Imagine this character as 2 koi fish swimming around each other. Now, can you go and say what ko sounds like with a dakten? It will be go, ko, go, ko, go. Hiragana ko is written in 2 strokes. the first stroke is a curved horizontal line that ends with the hane. Go down to this point and make a longer horizontal line that curves opposite from the first one. Just like the hiragana, I, ko should look like it's enclosing a circle. Okay, let's see it again. Let's see all the characters again. Ka, ga, ki, gi, ku, gu, ke, ge, ko, go. Now, let's review what you've learned. I'll show you a character or a word and give you time to say them. Ready? Ki, just like a key. Remember? Ka actually means a mosquito. Do you remember this one? It's e. I. Ko. U. Ku. Kaku. This means to write. Kage. Kage means shadow. Kiku. This means to listen. Try not to mix this up with kaku. Koe. Koe is voice. Kagi. Kagi means key. Don't forget it. Kyoku. This means memory. Make sure not to forget this one as well. Eiga. Eiga is movie. Oki. This means big. Great job! Are you wondering how do I identify between a ducted mark and a quotation mark? Don't worry. In Japanese, we use corner brackets to signify quotes and titles instead of quotation marks. Okay, let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what you've learned. In this lesson, you learned ka and ga, ki and gi, ku and gu, ke and ge, and ko and go. よくできました。You've now mastered 10 characters and 15 Japanese syllable sounds. Are you ready to learn what imagination is in Japanese? Stay tuned for the next lesson when we move on to the hiragana characters in the S column. Before you go, practice writing the following words on your own. Ka, kaku, aka, kago, kugi, kai, kage, kiku, kagi, koi, eki, 映画 空気 赤い 記憶 英語 気合 計画 会計 大きい See you in the next lesson! またね!
If you want to learn more words so you can speak and understand even more of your target language, there is a super simple way to do this. In fact, it's so simple that most people don't even think of it because it doesn't involve language apps, YouTube videos, or your computer. I'm talking about writing things out by hand. how to learn words and phrases by writing them out. And in this guide, you'll discover 1. Why writing words out helps you pick up languages faster, 2. How to use our free PDF workbooks to practice writing, and much more. But first, if you don't yet have access to our language learning system, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account. You probably already know that one of the best ways to master a language is through actually using it and practicing it. And that's where writing things out comes in, because you're using the language when you write it down. And on top of that, the physical act of writing helps your brain remember the words much better than seeing them on screen or typing them out. Now, handwriting may feel slow, but by taking it slow, you actually speed up your learning and master the language faster because you engage more of your brain in the process. So, how can you do this? You can apply this trick to any resource that you're using right now by simply copying out the words and phrases that you come across. The more you write them out, the better they'll stick. With our learning system, you can 1. Practice with our free PDF writing workbooks and worksheets. All members get free access to our PDF writing workbooks and worksheets, which are based on common topics like the alphabet, common nouns, adjectives, greetings, and much more. Inside, you learn the most common words and phrases for that topic, and you get plenty of space to practice writing the words out. And in the last section of the workbook, you'll get tested on the words. You'll see the translations of the words, so you'll have to try and remember the meaning in the target language and write it in. 2. Practice writing with the free Word of the Day emails. Every day, we send you a new word to your email inbox. You get the audio pronunciation, sample sentence, and a picture to help it stick. But you can also just as easily write that word down and do that daily every time the emails come in. And now you have a simple language routine going that you can stick with. Now, if you want to learn a little more than just words, you can 3. Practice writing out the conversations from our lessons. So, if you want to master entire conversations in your target language, you can also copy out the conversations from our audio and video lessons by hand. And this will help you master words, phrases, and grammar rules all at once, since you're not just writing out words, but actual lines. Just scroll down to the dialogue section of a lesson to see the conversation. So, if you want to get access to these learning tools and our learning system, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account. Remember, here's what you can do to learn all of these words by heart. Drill these words with our spaced repetition flashcards, which will help cement these words into your long-term memory. Save them to the word bank, your personal vocabulary collection, where you can print out your own study sheets, or review the words with our looped vocabulary slideshow, and play it until you know all of the words. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to get these lessons and study tools.
Hi everyone! Welcome to Basic Japanese Writing, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to master the Japanese alphabet. You've learned these 10 hiragana characters from the previous lessons. In this lesson, you learn 5 new characters and again 10 new sounds. The first hiragana character for this lesson is sa. Sa. This one looks like a sad, sign face. Do you notice that sa and ki look similar? A good tip to remember the difference is that sa is so sad that it gets one less line. All of the characters in this column can also be altered by a zakuten. Can you try and guess what the new sound will be? It will be za. Do you notice the difference? Sa, za, sa, za. Hiragana sa is written in 3 strokes. It's written the same way as ki, but without the first stroke. So it starts with this line written at an angle. Then the second stroke cuts through it and ends with a hane. And finally, draw half a smile. Remember, it looks connected in font, but Right way to write it is to lift up your pen first before drawing the last stroke. Okay, let's see it again. Okay, next up is the hiragana character, shi. Shi. It looks like a fishing hook. Let's add a dakten to shi. How do you think it will sound like now? Did you think it was zi? Actually, shi with a dakten is pronounced as ji. Shi, ji, shi, ji. Hiragana shi is written in one stroke. Start with a vertical line going down, then at the bottom, make it curve up. Flick your pen at the end of this stroke. Say it again. The third one is the hiragana su. Su. Su looks like a su parlor straw in a glass. Let's add a dakten to su as well. What do you think it will sound like? It's pronounced as zu. Su, zu, su, zu. Hiragana su is written in two strokes. The first stroke is a horizontal line going from left to right. The second stroke starts from the top, goes down, makes a loop around here, continues going down, then finishes by curving to the left. Flick your pen at the end of this stroke. To have a good balance for this character, intersect the first stroke a bit to the right of the center when drawing the second stroke. This will give space for the loop. Also, try to draw the same line before and after, making the loop to make your writing neat. Make sure there is a gap between the first stroke and the loop as well. Okay, let's see it again. This is the hiragana character, se. Se. Imagine se as a mouse facing sideways. It's about to say something. Let's modify se with a dakten. It is now pronounced as ze, se, ze, se, ze. Hiragana se is written in three strokes. The first stroke is a long horizontal stroke at the center. The second stroke is a short vertical line that ends with a hane going towards the upper left corner. Since the previous stroke ends with a hane, continue the motion of your pen to this point and start drawing a vertical line that curves to the right at the bottom. Do not flick your pen. Keep in mind that the third stroke should not be longer than the first stroke. Also, try to keep a balance where the second and third stroke intersect the first stroke. Okay, let's see it again. And our final character for this lesson is the hiragana so. So. To remember so, just imagine a zigzag sewing stitch. Now, can you go and say what so sounds like with a dakten? It will be zo, so, zo, so, zo. Hiragana so is written in one stroke. The first stroke is kind of zigzag line. First, try writing a letter Z on the top half, and then continue by writing a letter C on the bottom half without raising your pen. However, don't make it curl up like a normal letter C. One thing to keep in mind is that this line in the middle should be longer than this line on top. Okay, let's see it again. Hiragana so actually has another way of writing, but this time with 2 strokes. This is used less often than the one before. The first stroke is a short slanted line. The second stroke is exactly the same as the more common way of writing it, but without this part. Okay, let's see it again. Let's see all the characters again. さ、ざ、し、じ、す、ず、せ、ぜ、そ、ぞ. Now, let's review what you've learned. I'll show you a character or group of characters and give you time to say them. Ready? Se. Which one is the hiragana sa? It's this one with one less horizontal line. Zu. The word zu actually means diagram. Did you remember this one? It's o. This one is ke. Sushi is the famous Japanese dish. Jiko. This means accident. Suki. Suki means like. Saku. This means to bloom. Zo. Zo is elephant. Okashi. This means sweets. Osake. Osake means alcohol. Saigo. It means last. Sozo. Sozo means imagination. Try saying this long one. 高校生. A 高校生 is a high school student.
Great job! Do you want to get better at pronunciation? Try listening to Japanese blogs and podcasts. If you don't know where to look, we have a huge library at JapanesePod101.com. Remember, mnemonics help you associate English words with the characters, so they do not necessarily teach you the right pronunciation. Okay, let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what you've learned.
In this lesson, you learned sa and za, shi and ji, su and zu, se and ze, and so and zo.
よくできました。You've now mastered 15 characters and 25 Japanese syllable sounds.
Did you know that Japanese has a word for the day after tomorrow? You'll get to know it in the next lesson when we tackle the T column. Before you go, practice writing the following words on your own. Kasa, 押す、騎士、すぐ、好き、消す、9時、塩、意識、仕草、誘う、起こす、少し、探す、四角、返す、うさぎ、再生、おかしい、学生。
See you in the next lesson! またね!
Minasan konnichiwa. Hi everyone, my name is Chihiro, and welcome back to JapanesePod101.com's Kantan Kana series. In the last lesson, we learned the first 5 hiragana characters. A, I, U, E, O. Do you remember them? Today, we'll move on to the next line in the hiragana chart. We'll start with ka. 1, 2, 3. Notice the hane on the end of the first stroke. Try to make these 2 lines parallel. Now you can write kao. Which is face, and ika. Which is squid. Our next character is ki. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ki is tricky because when it is printed, the 3rd and 4th stroke are connected. When you write it, make sure that they are separate. I have a trick for remembering ki. If you close up the circle and draw some more detail at the top, it kind of looks like a key. If you can think of a picture or a story that links the sound with the kana, it'll be a lot easier to remember. Here is eki. Station. And here is kaki. Persimmon. Ku is a really easy one. Just 1 stroke. Now you know the word for to write. Kaku and aku, or evil. Our 4th character today is ke. 1, 2, 3. Don't forget the hane on the first stroke. The bottom of the 3rd stroke should curve inwards, not straight up and down. Here is ike. Pond. And here is kake. To bet. Just 1 more character today. The last one is ko. 1, 2. Here is koe. Voice. And here is kako. Past. Let's try a short quiz. See if you can read these words. If you can, try and remember their meanings. Eki. Station. Ike. Pond. Kaku. Right. Now it's time for Chihiro's tip. Don't get lost in studying and forget the real world. Find kana around you. Don't see any kana? Go to JapanesePod101.com and check out the kana transcripts for every lesson dialogue. You may not be able to read them all yet, so you can get a feel for how the kana are used in real life. Have you ever eaten sushi? You'll be able to write it and much more in the next lesson. See you then!
Want to speak real Japanese from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at JapanesePod101.com.
時間ないです
い
ね。
や、待って、黒何？黒いものを3つね、3つですよね。ブラックホール、カラス、
ゴミ袋、髪の毛、
猫、
猫、
カラス、コーヒー、リコリッシュ。
ダースベイダー、
白い、結婚式、白、ワンピース。なんでワンピースなんだろう。
白髪、
雲、
雲、
うさぎ、雪、雪見大福。
赤い、口紅。何があるわか。
消防車、ポスト、
ポスト、カメラの底のランプ、
赤いバラ。
トマト、リンゴ、また食べ物、さくらんぼ。
血。
おお早い、
早い。
楽しいのこれ。
3つでしょ。そんなみんな早く答えれる？はい、カモン。
青い、空、海、青春、
顔色。
スバルの車、
なんだろう、スライム？
スライム？
待って、ドラゴンクエストのスライム？
空、海、風。
あ、ローソン？ファミリーマート？あ、ファミリーマート青くない？ファミリーマート。
緑、自然、森、目にいい。
虫。
5月、植物、
スイカ、また食べ物だ。わさび。
葉っぱ、
山、富士山。
山、富士山、山、川、登山、
登山。キノコ、タケノコ。
お
スノーボード、
富士山は？
ちっちゃい頃登った、
すごい。
島袋さん。誰それ？沖縄でよくある名字。
日本、
サバイバル、釣り、小笠原諸島、
周りが海はダメなのか。日本、海、ガラパゴス。
森、私の友達の名字。
僕、
木、
迷う、
どんぐり、
ハイキング。
お菓子の家。
木が3つ。わかんない、いいのこんなんで。
川、船、川下り、ラフティング、
魚、川魚、ザリガニ。
ラフティング、
魚、水、カワセミ。イエーイ。でもなんか魚も食えそうだな。結論、元子は食べ物が好き。
海、広い。海、広大。海、空。
スキューバーダイビング。
泳ぐ、波、サーフィン、
海といえば釣り、
クラゲ、砂浜。海は歩くのが好き。
原宿、カラフル。いつも混んでる。
ファッション。裏腹。ラフォーレ。
竹下通り、ファッション、
原宿、これ食べ物行くじゃん。クレープ、ファッション。
僕が結婚式したとこ、若い、
10代の若者。
若者、
渋谷、ハチ公。いつも混んでる。スクランブル交差点。
人。
109 NHK
たくさんの人、交差点、ゲームセンター。
中目黒、大人、中の目黒。わかんないよ。美味しいお店がいっぱい。
中目黒。
芸能人。
中目黒、へえ、なんか青の洞窟、
住みたい町。
グルメ、日比谷線。
新宿、乗り換え。
うわ
都庁、高島屋。
都庁、伊勢丹。
ー、都庁。うわ、なんだろう。大きい駅。あ、3丁目です。
歌舞伎町。
歌舞伎町。
歌舞伎町の女王。セミの声を聞くたびに目に浮かぶ九十九里浜、しわしわのとか。
上野、お花見公園。
動物園、上野美術館、上野桜の花見で有名な公園。
上野公園と西郷さん。
西郷さん。
動物園、美術館。池。終わりですか？イエーイ。
楽しかった？
うん、面白かった。あ、食べ物好きなんだなって分かった。バイ。
ありがとうございます。
バイバイ。
バイバイ。
バイ。ありがとうございました。
新幹線、嘘です。もう一回いい？
Is that it?
No, まだ全然あるよ。
Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Japanese ebook before it's gone.